Hello, everyone. My name is Lindsay Miller, and I am a graduate student in Walsh's CHD program. For my culture group this week, I decided to do Indigenous Americans. So just a bit of background from our textbook, Hayes and Erford 2022. Scholars have written extensively about the ongoing effects of racism, discrimination, and stereotypes on Indigenous people. Again, from our textbook, Hayes and Erford 2022, there are significant disparities between Native Americans and white Americans in wealth, health, safety, and education. Many Native Americans grow up in communities characterized by high rates of unemployment, poverty, physical and mental health disparities, and lower levels of educational achievement. Native Americans are at a greater risk than other ethnic groups are for substance abuse issues, suicide, accidental death, violence, incarceration, infant mortality, and mental health problems. And again, I'm getting this information from Hayes and Erford 2022. So then, just furthermore, contemporary Native American scholars, such as Braveheart 2020, have coined the term historical trauma as a way of identifying the cumulative emotional and psychological suffering that is experienced by Native Americans because of the massive group trauma experiences. This historical trauma has resulted in an assortment of features, including unresolved grief, substance abuse, self-destructive behaviors, suicidal thoughts and behaviors, depression, anxiety, low self-esteem, rage, and difficulty recognizing and expressing emotions. And I pulled that from Hayes and Erford 2022 as well. So when I was just reading this, I decided to go with occupational issues. So Native Americans have relatively less access to work opportunities compared to Native Americans from other ethnic groups. That too is from Hayes and Erford 2022. Since 2003, Native American unemployment rates have remained almost twice as high as the unemployment rates of the country as a whole, and are even more pronounced on reservations and in areas where there are large concentrations of Native Americans. Native Americans are overemployed in service occupations and underemployed in management, professional, and related occupations at a ratio of 1.5 to 1. And again, that was from Hayes and Erford 2022. This could potentially be linked to differences in educational attainment, to the non-availability of job opportunities in local labor markets, or to discrimination in hiring practices and employment. And that, too, was from Hayes and Erford 2022. So I found an article, or not an article, it was a paper, like a research paper that I found by James Wolfe Lovato and Bios, 1994. And it talked about a variety of stereotypes have been held about Native Americans, such like calling them squads, lazy drunkards, passive stoics, and sneaks, just to name a few of the stereotypes. There is some evidence that views of Native Americans have become generally more positive in recent years. However, even positive stereotypes can have negative implications for Native Americans. Native applicants may be seen as less skilled and intelligent regardless of their actual abilities, experience, or skills. Their qualifications for jobs may be perceived as less good than they actually are because of the ethnic and or general gender stereotypes that evaluators hold. And that too was from the research paper, the James Wolfe Lovato and Byers 1994 paper I found. And then two, from that paper I found, one study found that Native Americans were generally viewed by members of mainstream society as particularly deficient on two characteristics, appearance and assertiveness, and these traits were deemed important to workplace success, especially management and professional success. And again, that was from the James Wolfe Lovato and Byers article, 1994. So I believe that family and community systems theory would work best when working with Indigenous clients. This theory emphasizes interconnectedness and collective healing. It fits well because many Indigenous cultures value extended family and tribal connectedness. Cultural barriers that exist for Indigenous individuals seeking counseling would be the historical trauma and distrust of institutions they carry. I could mitigate these by building trust gradually with my clients, adapting my approach if it's deemed necessary to do so, and by practicing cultural humility. But that is my discussion post this week for Indigenous Americans, and I look forward to listening to what everybody else has to share. Thank you so much for listening.